Hi, everyone. This is my second podcast, and just got finished watching Monday Night Football, and we'll get to that in a little bit. First, today, I would like to talk about the Patriots. So, does everyone want to overreact after 3 weeks on the Patriots again? Do you remember what happened in 2014 when the Patriots got smashed by the Chiefs? Didn't they win the Super Bowl that year? Last year, started 2-2, went to the Super Bowl. This year, you get Julian Edelman coming back in Week 5. You get Josh Gordon, who is insanely talented. I know it's been a while since his 1,600-yard season, but he is still a really good wide receiver. As shown by the first game, he played limited snaps. His only catch was a great toe tap in the end zone. That will help Brady. Brady hasn't had a receiver this talented since Randy Moss. And hopefully he can play next week, and we get to see what will happen with him. So everyone, I think, needs to calm down a little bit about the Patriots. People do this every year. Every year the Patriots struggle in September. They're not a September team. Bill Belichick takes his time. He evaluates how the team needs to grow and adjust for that season, because he doesn't know how everything's going to go together each season, because you only have the players on paper. You don't know how they're actually going to play against real NFL competition. So it will take some getting used to. The offensive line still looks good. It's just the thing with what happened with the Lions is Patricia knew everything about the Patriots. He had just come from there. They didn't really change much. And just Brady's receivers were double covered or tightly covered. Gronk was double covered. And Dorsett was double covered a couple of times, but he got injured. Rex Burkhead got injured. And it was just, no one was open the entire game. Also, the Patriots were able to get no pass rush. That is because of Trey Flowers. Trey Flowers is incredible. Before he got injured last week, he hadn't had a game since the Super Bowl against the Falcons without a quarterback pressure. Think about that. He's in his third year. That is insane to have that long of a streak. And that's why they had no pass rush. They also didn't have Patrick Chung, who Belichick has called one of the best players in the league. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, and I'm not saying it's true, but for someone of that caliber of a coach says that about a player, there's got to be some merit to it. And he's coached some Hall of Fame defensive players. He knows a little bit about what he's talking about. All right. Next, I wanted to talk about Gronk's words after the game. So, Gronk said after the game, he confirmed the rumors that he was going to be traded to the Lions. And then he threatened to retire. And he said Brady is his quarterback and he only wants to play with Brady. Now, that got me thinking. If Brady retires after this year, or in 2 years, or in 3 years, or whenever Brady retires, does that mean Gronk will retire? Will the greatest tight end in history call it a career early because he doesn't have his favorite quarterback? I mean, I'm sure that won't be all that goes into the decision, because he does get hit more than a lot of people He's gone through a bunch of injuries, and football is a wear and tear sport. And obviously, Gronk could have a history in acting or WWE or whatever. So, yeah, so Gronk shouldn't retire though. Even with the injuries, he has some playing years left. Question was brought up to me by a friend: is Gronk more loyal to Belichick or Brady? Now, that would be an interesting question. But do you think there's some resentment after Belichick tried to trade him? I don't know. Does Gronk like the system, or does he like the quarterback? That goes into the previous question too. If he likes the system more, will he not retire when Brady retires? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, next, let's talk about the Vikings versus the Bills. Now, some people are going to say that this shows something about the Vikings, or this shows that the Bills can actually be okay. I'm going to say no to both. This is the NFL. Any team on any given day can show up and beat any team. Their coaching and emotions and so many intangibles that go into the game of football. The Bills showed up and the Vikings did not. This was a fluke game. It happens all the time in the NFL. Let's not overreact after one game. Sure, it was complete domination, yes. Kirk Cousins did not look good. They harassed him the entire game. Shut down. They didn't have Dalvin Cook, which shut down their run game. But it was more just a fluke game, I think. The Vikings are a much better team than the Bills. The Vikings are one of the best teams in the league. The Bills are one of the worst teams in the league. This was a fluke game. All right. Next, we're going to talk about Leveon Bell and where I think he should go, or different options of where the Steelers could trade for him. So, I said before the season that the Steelers should trade Bell. They weren't. If you're not going to pay someone of that caliber, get some value for him because he is leaving. And then the things with the O-line, what the O-lineman said about him, he's not coming back. There is no way that Bell plays behind that line. No way. There is absolutely no way. He doesn't trust them. They said bad things about him. It won't work. It won't work. I think the best place that he would want to go would be the Browns. I know they have Nick Chubb and Carlos Hyde, but Bell is better than both by a significant amount. He is probably the best running back in the NFL still. There's arguments for Gurley, there's arguments for Zeke. Yeah. I feel like I'm forgetting someone, but those are David Johnson. But no, Bell is better than them. Bell has the patience, he has the catching, he has everything you want a running back to be. But the thing is, the Steelers aren't going to trade him to in-division. Bell would want to go to the Browns so he could play the Steelers and beat them and prove them, I was worth the money. You made a mistake trading me. Another good fit would be the Patriots. Patriots have Sony Michel and don't pay running backs and don't really have much to trade. I mean, sure, they have a lot of picks. They could trade for him, and they trade Sony Michel and a few picks for Bell, but Belichick won't pay him, so that's not an option. The Packers are an option. That would be scary. Aaron Rodgers and Bell. Whew. All right, can you imagine? Oh my God, it'd be like touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Most of their games would be like 40 something to 30 something because the defense can't hold up, but their offense would be incredible. It would be incredible. All right, moving on. Let's talk Lakers. So with LeBron, people are saying that will be 6 to 8 seed. And today at Media Day, LeBron did not necessarily pump up expectations. He kind of lowered them. I think he's bracing for the case that the young guys don't develop or don't play well with him. But I've liked what I've seen from Kuzma, Ingram, and Hart. Hart was balling out in the Summer League. I know you're going to say Summer League means nothing. But look what happened last year with Kuzma in the Summer League. He should have been the Summer League MVP, not Lonzo. And he was the Summer League Finals MVP. He was great in the Summer League. And then he was great last season. And speaking of Kuzma, he worked out with Kobe this season. And every player who has worked out with Kobe has had career highs the next season. It's a fact. It's just a fact. Kawhi did it when he was top 3 in MVP. Giannis did it. DeMar DeRozan did it. Kyrie did it. They all had career highs the next season. Brandon Ingram talked with Kobe. Brandon Ingram is also improving his body, getting stronger. It's a process. He's not going to suddenly be super strong. He's really skinny. But he has all the skills. Last year we saw that. We saw it when he was healthy. If he can stay healthy, he can be a really good player. He can drive very well. He plays great defense, and he's super long. And he can handle the ball. He knows where to go with it. And I think LeBron will be a great influence on him. LeBron is going to help all of these young players reach their peak. Just with his presence, his basketball knowledge, and LeBron on the court makes most of his teammates better. It might not show up on the stat sheet all the time, but how they actually play is better. Like Chris Bosh, his numbers went down. Was he playing worse? No. That's why he still got the All-Star nods and still got paid. And they won championships. And to those people saying you don't like the Lakers roster because it doesn't have enough shooting, LeBron had shooting in Cleveland and lost. But I'm talking about before this past year. Shooting doesn't always work. Houston had shooting. Sure, I think they only lost because CP3, but their shooting shot the worst almost any team has ever shot. That was terrible. Terrible shooting. Shooting, you cannot outshoot the Golden State Warriors. They have Stephen Curry, who's the greatest shooter of all time, and Klay Thompson, who's top 10, I think the 6th best shooter of all time. He is no joke. They are no joke. And Kevin Durant can shoot. And DeMarcus Cousins is one of the best shooting big men of all time. You don't lose shooting with an Achilles injury. I think it's smart to give him a bunch of versatile players that can pass, can defend, that are gritty, that have heart, and can just demoralize the Warriors. I don't think it will happen this year. But last year, the Lakers played, without LeBron, played the Warriors very hard. Every single game was close. Every single game. I know it was the regular season, but it shows something. It shows something. I think the Lakers can realistically get the 3rd seed behind the Warriors and the Rockets. If you say the Utah Jazz, what offense do they have besides Donovan Mitchell? The Lakers have LeBron, Kuzma, Ingram. There's 3 pretty good offensive players right there. Hart has shown he can be offensive. And Rondo is a mastermind. They'll be better offensively, not as good defensively, but the Lakers were one of the best teams defensively last year without LeBron. Luke Walton is a hell of a coach. Hell of a coach. If you say OKC, look what happened last year. I know they got rid of Melo and are going to splice the floor out. That could work. They could be better. But LeBron. Top 4 player of all time. He's incredible. Incredible. All right. Next, I'm going to talk about Canelo versus Triple G briefly, just because I didn't start this podcast till this week, and I didn't get to talk about it when it happened. Just briefly, I want to say my thoughts on the outcome. That was one of the greatest fights I have ever seen in my life. One of the greatest fights. It was so good. Canelo, Triple G's trainer, asked Canelo to do exactly what Canelo did. And he just brought it to him the entire fight. Triple G didn't know what to do except use his jab perfectly, though, which is why he was so close. And then Triple G just had resurgence in the middle rounds, and then late in the later rounds. It was just such a beautiful fight. I would have been happy with it 7-5 for either fighter, or a draw. I would have been happy with either. Don't say that Triple G got robbed, because that was a hell of a fight by Canelo. Hell of a fight. Canelo did exactly what Triple G's trainer told him to do, and did it beautifully. It completely disrupted Triple G. Completely. Triple G was the knockout artist. He was the one supposed to bring the power. Canelo is a counterpuncher, and he was bringing the fire. Triple G was stepping back, running around the ring almost the whole fight. I mean, it wasn't Floyd Mayweather running, but it was Triple G running. All right. Now let's talk about Fitzmagic. Is he really Fitzmagic? So, I was watching the game tonight, and the first half, I was ready to rip Fitzpatrick a new one right now. But he had a resurgence in the second half. I was still right that everyone was overreacting. He is good. He's a good NFL quarterback. He's not great. He's not 400 yards and 4 touchdowns great. Tonight he was 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 picks great. But there were at least 2 drop picks by the Steelers. He could have easily had 5 picks. And some of those picks were taken away touchdowns. He did not look good tonight. He fell back down to earth a little bit against a terrible Steelers defense, which confuses me. How this was the game that he fell back down to earth. Doesn't make sense to me. Still, he's a good quarterback, and I would keep him over Jameis. Keep him over that head case. He has the hot hand. He had the resurgence in the second half and almost came back. Leave the hot hand. Leave the hot hand. All right. Now, as it was requested by a YouTuber who commented on my last post, I'll talk about why in this specific league I have an 0-3 record, which it is now an 0-3 record officially. So, as I talked about in my last video, I have Dion Lewis and Derrick Henry struggle because Taylor Lewan and Jack Conklin are hurt. That is why I lost. I stuck with them for the first 2 weeks. I played both. And they don't have their two most important players for their success. The third most important player is Marcus Mariota, who is also injured. So the three most important players for their success are injured. Wouldn't that hurt your team if those were two of your best running backs? So, and then this week, I had Chris Thompson, who I finally started. I benched him the last 2 weeks. But I finally started Chris Thompson. And Chris Thompson gave me 2.7 points. This is a PPR league. 2.7 points after averaging over 20. What are the odds of that? Not great. Not great. AJ Green, who I have, gets hurt after having 58 yards. Didn't play most of the game. The Chargers defense gave me -4 yards. And this week, I decided to bench Derrick Henry and Dion Lewis because they were playing the Jaguars. And they still didn't have Marcus Mariota, Taylor Lewan, or Jack Conklin. And then I put Sony Michel and Chris Thompson in instead. Chris Thompson, I already said. Sony Michel in my flex gave me 5.9. 5.9. I mean, the Patriots were just shut down all night. They held the ball the Lions held the ball for 40 minutes of the game. Another game plan that did that was the Giants and Bills Super Bowl. That game plan is in the Hall of Fame. 40 minutes. What are they supposed to do? Run the ball when you're down? That's exactly what they did. And when they did that, when they shouldn't have done that, it was effective, but not effective enough. Sony Michel and the running game and the passing game were just completely shut down by the Patriots. Completely. I talked about that earlier in the show. So now I'm going to talk about week 1, just a bad week for my team. Nobody played well. It was week 1, so I wasn't worried. Week 2, I should have won. I lost 140.9 to 137.1. It was a close game. He had Cam Newton, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, DeAndre Hopkins. All of those players scored 17.9 or more. Tyreek Hill and the Rams defense, and Jay Ajayi and George Kittle and Matt Bryant. You can see that right there. But that is not why I lost. He had a great week, yes. I should have had better. I lost because I was dumb in my management. Plus some unluckiness. With Derrick Henry and Dion Lewis. You could see their point totals. And I gave reasons for that. Kenny Stills dropped a dud in week 1, 20 plus points. Week 2, 16 points. He had 16 something points. He had 15.1 points. It was a fluke week. On my bench, as you can see, I had Chris Thompson with 22, as I said earlier. Will Fuller with 25. Corey Davis with 10.5. Kerryon Johnson with 11.6. Philip Lindsay with 12.1. If I had started any one of those players, I would have won. Any one. Do you know how rare that is to have 5 players on your bench that if you had started, you would have won? You know how unlucky that is? That is why I am 0-3. And I'm not worried about this season. My best year ever in fantasy, in 5 leagues, I started 0-4. I won all 5 of those leagues. Another 3 leagues, I started 1-3, and I won those. No, two other leagues, I started 1-3, and I won both of those leagues. Same year. It was the year Brady was suspended. I'm not worried. All right. That's today's podcast. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.